Today, we're going to talk about the recap of the ramming in Rome. Is that better? We're gonna talk about some. We're gonna talk about some interesting things that happened in the Ryder Cup, and outside of the Ryder Cup, relating to the Ryder Cup, and kind of an all-encompassing episode on, the Ryder Cup, the fallout, everything that happened, and much more on this episode of the Beerly Out of Bounds podcast. Hello and welcome back to Beerly Out of Bounds. It's the golf show podcast you've always wanted but never mentioned it to your friends or family. I'm your host, Zachary Smith. Joining me as always is the man with the plan whose name is not Stan. It's Zane Smith.
I don't like that intro at all. But let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling.
Get better.
Okay, so before we get into golf, this is a Beerly podcast, so what are we drinking tonight, Zane?
We're drinking something called a salty chihuahua without salt, or sin salt, because I'm learning Spanish. It's a lemonade and tequila together.
Oh man,
a little bit of a different It's not a margarita. It's a little sweeter than a marg. So it's not quite a margarita, but it tastes pretty good with that Don Julio tequila in it.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, that Don Julio, dude, that is. I am not a tequila fan.
I'm not either.
But Don Julio found the sauce, man. It is so smooth, like so smooth. And anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway,
no, it's fine.
What are you
good.
drinking?
Keep
what are you drinking?
All right, so today I think it's when picking a drink for a day like this, when you just turn out to be so right, and when you're so right so often, some of the people that you pick against,
look way too happy.
Some of the people, I'm happy I'm right all the time. That's all I'm gonna say. Some people, when you pick against them because they make stupid decision and they get their just desserts. So tonight I'm going to be doing shots. We have, this is called a pumpkin pie shot. We have Old Smoky Tennessee pumpkin spice moonshine, and then that paired with some Fireball. So just desserts. This is a pumpkin pie shot. I invented it, so it's only right.
Nice. Very nice. Well done.
Yeah.
That was significantly better than your intro.
So I'm preparing my pumpkin pie shot now. So it's 2 parts moonshine, 1 part Fireball. So you just go ahead and top that little bad boy off with the Fireball there. And then
it's like a pumpkin pie.
Dude, this is actually really good. Like, next time you get the chance to try this, it tastes like pumpkin pie. It goes down really easy.
I bet. I know it goes down easy by how slow you did that shot. That's how it tastes good.
That's really good. Okay. So, let's start it off.
Let's do it.
What did I say? What was the European points total I put last week?
I thought you said 16-14.
No, I was close. I said 15.5. I said Europe would get 15.5. Yeah. So they ended up with 16, but that's pretty dang close, especially when Vegas was picking it the other way. So Zach Stradamus strikes again. I've got another prop. Someone I really look forward to make my picks. Aristotle right here is joining me on the podcast, and he just wanted to. Aristotle, no, stop.
You
crazy
just rub
guy.
That head? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I rub the Aristotle head, make my picks. And apparently, I'm always right.
Yours?
It's honestly, it's become quite an issue for everyone else when they pick against me.
Yeah.
The Aristotle is on my side. Zach Stradamus strikes again, unfortunately for Team USA. But Zane,
Some might confuse your excitement with.
I just like being right. Okay, that's all it is.
Outcome.
It's not related to the outcome at all. Although, again, just desserts. Zach Johnson. As soon as he made his captain pick, this is what I knew was going to happen. So,
well, to be fair, this is what we felt was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to. I never want to pick again. Here's the deal. I was very pessimistic. I did say that we would retain. So it's not that, and I was wrong. I was wrong, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. It is very hard for me, particularly with my country. It's another thing if it's like a Miami Hurricanes game or a Buccaneers game where I can just kind of, again, I don't care about that. But whenever it's like my country, I don't want to like guess that they'll lose.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I mean, I get that.
So,
oh wait, I put the wrong hat on. They didn't win this. Get this out of here. Ole, ole.
I want to reach through that screen and punch it so hard right now.
So
Why?
Team USA deserves it.
You're gonna start rooting for the Europeans now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is just desserts. And since that's the 5th time I've said that this show, it's time to pour another shot, baby. Let's get the fireball out.
That is representative of Rory McIlroy.
Hello, that's Northern Ireland. It's not Ireland.
It's Ireland. It's still Ireland. It's all Ireland. It's an island called Ireland.
You don't have to say it in an Irish accent.
I didn't. That's just how it sounds when you say
Ireland.
That's just how it sounds when you say Ireland.
All right. So let's get another pumpkin pie shot going because I've said just desserts 5 times.
You got to do 5, right?
Huh?
You got to do 5 of them, right?
I ain't doing 5 of these shots. If we want to finish this podcast, that's not every 5 times I say it. I'll do a shot. This is number 2.
You just do this podcast to get drunk. I know why you do it.
I've never been drunk on this podcast. I've never been drunk on this podcast.
I love the qualifier this in that sentence. I love that.
Alrighty,
awesome.
so Zane, we talked a lot, and there's a short video that I put out about you. I put out a short of me talking about it, about what went wrong. You know, obviously there was some doubts with the captain's picks and everything like that, but more importantly, the guys that automatically qualified didn't perform well. So what went wrong this year at the Ryder Cup, particularly in the team stage?
Well, what do you feel? Like I mean, I'll go. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So particularly in the team stage, and we'll go over the evidence for this later. But particularly in the team stage, I feel like we didn't make enough. We didn't even do close to enough prep. I think that we were slow coming out the gate because we took 5 weeks off of playing golf. The only one who didn't was Brooks Koepka, and even he looked
Justin Thomas also.
Justin Thomas also, I guess, yeah. But the rest of the team did. They took like 5 weeks off.
Mm-hmm.
Then they thought that they could play stellar golf going in, which, again, if you know professional golf, if you know what that world's like, that just doesn't happen all the time. Yeah. That is so far from reality. That strategy of, oh, we're gonna be fresh. That's what didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it didn't make sense to me how we were saying like, oh, Team Europe's not gonna be fresh because they're playing too much golf in the practice rounds. Like, that blew my freaking mind. That people writing golf articles like Dan Rappaport and like it wasn't Jason Sobel, but like all those other guys,
yeah, they
were saying how there was some way that we were gonna have an advantage because we weren't playing golf as much practice golf on the course.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, how hard are practice rounds?
How hard are they?
How hard are they?
They're very easy.
Stupid easy, right?
Yeah, 90% of the time those guys are playing, well, especially for the Ryder Cup, I imagine most of those guys are riding for those practice rounds. They're not even walking.
No, they're walking.
Not every one of their practice rounds, though.
Okay, but they were walking week of.
Yeah.
But that's the thing I'm trying to say is they were walking. But here's the deal. you're not gonna get fatigued at that high of a level.
Yeah.
From walking a golf course.
Yeah, unless
Even
you're
twice.
Tiger Woods and you blew out your ankle in a car
Even
crash.
twice. I don't care. They have enough team doctors there. They have enough recovery equipment there. They have enough rehab equipment there. They're not going to get... That's only going to benefit you in golf. It's not swim. It's not sprints.
Yeah.
It's not doing... You're not a sprinter. You're not doing a decathlon.
Yeah.
You're a golfer. And it does not hurt you to spend more time out on the golf course.
Yeah.
I heard that talking point. I knew it was from BS from right off the get-go.
Yeah.
That was just baloney. And that's what I...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, and it just seemed like we were trying to justify things that were simply done for the comfort of our team.
Yeah.
For instance, the fact that we didn't switch up certain pairings.
And so that is what I'm going to harp on. Like, yes, not playing golf, bad. But at the same time...
I think it's really bad.
Yeah, it's bad. I 100% agree. But looking at the pairings the first 2 days, I'm shocked at some of the pairings. And I'll go into probably the biggest mistake, I think, in pairing. Well, there's two big ones, first off. Yeah. There's two major ones.
Go ahead.
And probably my least favorite pairing this entire event was Schauffle and Koepka.
Yes.
And me and Zayna talked about it off the podcast.
King. Go off, King.
But Schauffle and Koepka are both great individual players. Fantastic individual players. The problem comes when these two fantastic individual players play on a team when their weakness is the exact same. Both of them struggle with the putting stroke. And they have both struggled with the putting stroke all year long. It's not like... I mean, one of my favorite ones that was there was Homa and Harman. Because Homa is a great ball striker and he can roll the ball. But... And Harman is going to keep it in play, and he can roll the ball.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a strong pairing. But when you got two guys that are great ball strikers, great off the tee, but neither of them can make a putt, it's going to be tough for them to hang with a pairing like Fitzpatrick, who's arguably the best ball striker in the field, and Rory, who is, without a doubt, the best driver in the field. And both of those guys can roll the... Well, Rory less so, but Fitzpatrick can roll the ball as good as 80% of the guys in the field. He's not the best putter in the field, but he's far better than Koepka and Schauffle. So, I mean, you get these two guys playing together. 9 and 7. I mean, I didn't expect it to be that bad when I saw the pairing or the matchup, but... I mean, Schauffle and Koepka are simply not complements to each other. Another one that it seems like the plan was, if I put these guys out there enough times, they're going to win a match, and that was Thomas and Spieth.
Yes.
There's no reason they should have gone out in the afternoon on day 2.
Keep going.
They are... What were they at the time? They were 0-2 at the time, or 0-1-1?
0-1-1. They have the match.
Okay. So they went 0-1-1 through 2 days. Okay, now it's not that we don't need to tie matches now. We're down big. We need to win matches. And you throw out Spieth and Thomas because they're best friends. And, you know, they're going to get the job done because that's our dynamic duo. Spieth looked awful. Spieth looked so bad. I think he ended up winning his match with Lowry, but Lowry was arguably the worst player on the European team. He's basically a hype man for everybody else.
Yep.
So, congrats, you beat the worst player on the other team, but in singles, at that point, your match really didn't matter.
Yep.
I mean, I think it was day 1 afternoon. I don't think he finished a hole after 14. Like,
yes. No, you're exactly right. No, you're exactly right.
Yeah, how do you not finish a hole?
You're that bad.
You don't have a par putt?
You're that bad.
I mean, Spieth looked awful. Thomas didn't look good. I think at the time, after day 2 of the group play, I think they were 23 and 24 in strokes gained.
Yes.
I just, the idea of throwing those guys out there when the U.S. needs a win.
Yep.
We didn't just want to win. We needed a win. You can put those guys out there, but pair them with someone else because they're not getting the job done.
Yeah.
They're the worst 2 in the field in strokes gained.
Yes.
It looks like Zach Johnson's plan was literally, if I throw these guys out there enough times, they're going to win a match.
Yep.
And what happens? They finish 0-2 and 1.
Yep. Justin finishing 1-2 and 1.
Yep.
Jordan finishing 0-2 and 2.
I thought he won his match against Lowry.
I think it was halved.
Oh, did Lowry come back and have that?
Yes.
Jordan was like up 3 through 13 or something.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh my God.
So I'm telling you, like, if anybody can take away anything from this event, and again, this has to be the thing that gets made into a short for later.
Yeah.
Is this strategy of picking people that mesh well is a effing dumb strategy. It is the worst strategy that we have ever tried to utilize in the history of the Ryder Cup. It will go down in Zach Johnson will go down in history as the worst Ryder Cup captain ever to be.
It's him and another American guy.
There's no
I can't remember his name.
There's no shot that we ever do this again, where we let people on the team based off of their previous Ryder Cup record and the fact they are good in the quote good in the locker room. It just
Zane.
It's proof positive.
Remember, you don't leave JT at home. Remember that.
If any of these guys, like Freddie Couples, or I'm trying to think of the people, or Eamon Lynch, or Brandel Chambly saying that JT was gonna be invaluable to this team, I want them to eat their hats, because this is proof positive that they were so, not just kind of wrong, so wrong on so many levels.
And that's why they got their just desserts.
And here's the thing: you never. I'm starting to believe in the theory that you never actually get away with anything. You may get away with something for a while, but it always comes home to roost.
Yeah.
And the fact we did what we did in picking the picks we picked.
Yeah.
And in doing the things we did all these past 2 years with the Live Tour and the animosity we treated some players with.
Yep.
All of this came home to roost in the end. This could have been a completely different Ryder Cup with Bryson DeChambeau there. He's playing the best golf of his life.
Yeah.
He's playing better than Koepka is on the Live Golf League.
Yeah.
As are several players, including P. Reed, including Cam Smith.
Dustin Johnson.
Including Dustin. Well, I don't know if Dustin Johnson's beating Koepka in the Live Golf League rankings, but there's plenty of players that deserve to be there based off of their play. Obviously, yeah. Cam Smith's Australian. Not talking about him, but I'm just saying there's other.
Cam Young.
You
think the U.S. didn't miss Cam Young in this Ryder Cup? A bomber, who's really good off the tee.
Amazing off the tee.
You think that those shanks that we were
16, he hits the green every time.
Yeah.
Hole 16 comes up, he hits the green every time.
And he's in the fairway on 18 every time. With a chance to go at the green in 2.
And guess who wasn't? Almost the entire U.S. team. Almost the entire U.S. team.
Hey, except for Wyndham Clark, who managed somehow to hit the best drive both days on 18 and miss the green 800 yards to the right.
And who managed to get the lowest strokes gain in the whole event.
I mean, he qualified automatically, so there's not much you could do about that. But
you can't do anything about that.
He looked awful.
You can only do that about how the Ryder Cup points are divvied.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do.
Yep. But he looked awful.
So that's up to the PGA Tour, by the way, because the PGA Tour didn't let any of the LIV guys play any events.
Yeah.
So all of this crap coming from the PGA Tour apologists.
Yeah.
About how just play better, or all these people like the Rory McIlroy acolytes who are saying like, just play better. You could have just played in some extra tournaments. No, you can't, because they literally wouldn't let you play in those events.
Yeah. Literally wouldn't let him play in DP World Tour events. Literally wouldn't let him play on the PGA Tour. Literally wouldn't let him play like on the Asian Tour. They wouldn't let him play there. So,
I think they were playing on the Asian Tour.
But I mean, I don't think they were, because I thought Patrick Reed tried to, and
no, he did.
Okay, I thought he tried to, and they wouldn't let him. But
no, there's several players that are getting their money, a little extra money on the side doing that. But,
okay.
But my whole point is to say, yeah, U.S. crap the bed. If we look at the picks, let's just look at the picks.
What did they finish, like 2-14?
Zach, who are the picks? Who are the captain's picks?
The captain's picks.
Because here's what you want to. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what you want to happen. Whenever we already said this, but I can't stress it enough. You want captain's picks of people that are playing well at the moment, who are in form. That's the whole point of a captain's pick. That's what we've said from day one.
And I don't care what their private Ryder Cup record is. That doesn't matter if they're playing like garbage. Who cares?
No. And that's my whole point that I try to tell these people who are harping on the captain or harping on previous Ryder Cup records is, did they play the previous Ryder Cups
when they were in form?
When they were in form. And if the answer is they got in there automatically, it's like, there you go. They got in there automatically because they were playing well.
Yeah.
So of course they have a chance to play well in the Ryder Cup. I want to see the record of them getting in the Ryder Cup, not being in form, and then playing well in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
You know, maybe an automatic guy in who won a major, or who didn't play well leading up to the event but played well in the event.
Yeah.
Like that can be your only evidence. The Ryder Cup record cannot be in and of itself evidence of them playing well in the Ryder Cup that year. Obviously. We saw that. Right? That bore out in the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
That was borne out by how this Ryder Cup ended.
Yep.
And then the other thing.
Okay.
Just real quick, I'm going to read off the names of the lowest U.S. point. And I know this isn't perfect because strokes gained don't equal how the matches turned out.
Yeah.
But I just want to say the strokes gained of the lowest 6, and let's see who of those were captain's picks. Are you ready?
Yep.
You have Wyndham Clark.
Not a captain's pick.
Okay, so that's a point for whoever's on the other side of the argument. Jordan Spieth, captain's pick.
Yep.
Then you have Justin Thomas,
captain's pick.
Colin Morikawa,
captain's pick.
Ricky Fowler, captain's pick. And Brooks Koepka, captain's pick.
Yep.
The only person who was a captain's pick who played above average in strokes gained for the whole tournament
was Sam Burns.
And that's because obviously he thrives under the match play format.
Yeah.
Which again, we said was a good pick.
Yeah, he's a birdie or bust guy. And that's kind of how he's made his. That's why he's been so good at match play. That's why he won the WGC. But when you look at some of the other picks, I don't mind the Ricky pick. He was always, even if he did get picked, he was always going to be one of the weaker on the team. That doesn't surprise me.
I agree with you.
Because he's not a big birdie guy. He's a guy that plays very consistently, like pars a bunch of holes. He'll sprinkle in birdies in there.
Yeah.
But that's not conducive to wins in match play. But I mean, Thomas, Spieth, to an extent, Koepka. I mean, I think Koepka deserved to be there, but Morikawa, I mean, I just wonder what their, I don't have the stat in front of me, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I wonder what their, like, birdie rate was this year.
What their birdie rate was?
Yeah. I don't have the stat in front of me, and you don't have to look it up, but I wonder what the birdie rate was this year. But a quote after the ending of the Ryder Cup from U.S. captain Zach Johnson, he said, "I wouldn't change a thing." About his decisions with his captain's pick, the pairings, all that. Like, was there anything you would have done differently? He said, "I wouldn't change a thing." I think my tweet was something along the lines of, when I saw this, I think my tweet was, all European players agree.
That's a good tweet. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Zach.
Because, I mean, to field the team that we fielded this year, we deserved the result we got. And that's all I have to say. We deserve the...
That's not all you have to say.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. We deserve we got our just desserts for what we decided to field this year in the Ryder Cup. And congrats to Team Europe for taking it down in convincing fashion. I think I was pretty close on the individual matches as well. Because I picked the individual matches before they happened. I was pretty close. Anyway, moving on. Zane, we're going to talk a little bit about some...
Okay, can we say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we going to talk about the Justin Rose, his statement?
Yeah, we could talk about that before slightly shifting topics, but not really.
I don't think he's really shifting topics.
No, I'm saying I'm about to shift topics, but it's still
Ryder Cup. Then I'd rather.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Justin Rose thing. Zane, do you have the exact quote in front of you?
I do. Hold on. Let's go.
Because Justin Rose said something in the, I guess you'd call it like a post-game press conference.
It's the post-game.
Post-game press conference. Justin Rose said something really interesting about what the Ryder Cup means to European players and what they play for. Seems to say that it's something completely different than what the American team is playing for. Which, if you look at the way that this team was put up and the way that they decided to do the pairings, would seem to be correct.
Yeah. So here, let me pull it up real quick. I'm sorry. Should have had it on hand. But yeah, basically what he said was, did I send it to you?
I got it. I can pull it up. I got it
right here. Ready? So let's go ahead. I'm gonna just go ahead and play it into the microphone. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead. Play it.
Play the full thing.
Well, I was just thinking there actually before you asked that question. Like, you know, we're united by a culture. We're united by a generation of players that have come before us. And this is our time. You know, Luke's been very clear on that message. It's our time to shine, but it's our time to shine not because this is our stage. We are just taking care of it because of the amazing role models that we have before us that have shown us how to do it. You know, I feel there's a really strong culture in the European team. A good pairing in the European team doesn't mean playing with your best mate. You know, it means about representing something bigger than yourself. And I feel like that's, for me, what being a European Ryder Cup player is all about.
Boom! Roasted.
So obviously, I don't think that comes from a place of animus. I don't suggest that he was even referring to Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth there.
I
really don't.
My headcanon, that's what he was referring to.
I know your headcanon he is. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he's just referring to them.
Yeah.
If you noticed from the pairings on the European side, what did you notice about the pairings? What was the thing that stuck out to you? Anything?
It was... Well, I mean, you look at it like this. I mean, you pair a guy like Justin Rose. And this is what this is probably the most brilliant pairing in the entire thing. Was Justin Rose and Robert McIntyre.
Yeah.
Probably the most brilliant pairing because Robert McIntyre, there was things coming out about him pre-Ryder Cup that he couldn't find a fairway and all this. That man was dicing up that course with the driver.
Yeah.
And you pair him with a guy, huh?
He couldn't putt.
Couldn't putt, but he's dicing up the fairway with the driver. You pair that with a guy who seemingly made almost everything this year.
Oh,
Justin Rose was so hot with the flat stick.
Yeah,
and
strokes gained putting had to be up there.
I mean, you pair those two guys together, which, again, it's 2 captains' picks, I believe. 2 captains' picks who are supposed to be at or near the bottom of the European team in terms of where they rank internationally, like on the OWGR. And you create a team that could have competed against the best of USA.
Yeah.
But it's because these guys have complementary games. Okay, you didn't see, like, you never saw Rahm and Hovland paired together. You saw Hovland and Aberg. You saw Hovland and Hogard. I'm trying to think who. I think you saw
Hovland and Aberg. And it's Aubert, by the way.
Aubert, yeah. I remember that now. But, I mean, like, you got...
Hovland and Hatton.
Hovland and Hatton
Friday
was...
4 balls.
Yep.
Hovland and Aubert again on the 4.
Hovland played all 5 matches. Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy. And then he played with Aubert again in the 4 balls. So he played with Aubert 3 out of the 4 times.
Yeah.
The only time he didn't play with Aubert was on the 4 balls on Friday.
Yep.
But he kept switching things up. Justin Rose and McIntyre. Let's see if that was the same here. He didn't play that round. You had Lowry with Straka, and then you had Lowry with somebody else.
I think that's another good pairing.
Yeah.
Lowry or Straka is a good pairing.
Yeah. Well, then you had Rahm and Hogard.
Great pairing.
Rahm and Hatton. I mean, it just... They were switching around very often. The only one I would say that just stayed the same... No, not even that one. Fitzpatrick and McIlroy. Fitzpatrick and... McIlroy and Fleetwood.
Yep.
He just kept switching it up.
He kept switching it up, trying to find the best matchups going in.
Fleetwood and Hogard.
Yeah.
Look at that.
He kept switching up, and he's looking for these good matchups, and he's trying to find, like, okay, how can I keep my guys fresh? How can I keep my guys fresh and keep pairing them with someone who's going to complement their game? Mm-hmm. Instead of, okay, Scheffler is so good. Like, he's really good. You know who else is really good? Brooks Koepka. He won a major this year. I'm going to put those 2 guys together, and they should dominate. They should clean house. Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, they're best buddies. No one's got more chemistry than those 2 guys. I'm going to put them together 3 out of 4 team matches, and they're going to clean house. I mean, it's like, guys, come up with a new idea, please.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think he's exactly right. I think if you look at what we did, the reason that we won in Whistling Straits so bad was just because we had Titans.
Yeah.
And sometimes Titans, sometimes brute strength, and I'm not just talking about their strength off the tee, even though that plays a role. But sometimes having that many great players versus the other side really makes a difference.
Yep.
Sometimes you can't make up.
I think in the last Ryder Cup, we had like 5 of the top 10 in the world.
We did. But Zach, that's my point.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. We had like 5 or 6 of the top 10 in the world. Yeah, we're going to win the Ryder Cup.
Yes. I think to suggest that Whistling Straits was some strategic win is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I think, they played, obviously, whenever you have it on your home soil, you're going to play it to your advantages, which is, like you said, the short par 4s. You know, making it drivable for your guys, not so drivable for them.
Or they have to push really hard to try and get there. Whereas your guys are hitting their stock driver shots to the distance that would get them to the green. Yeah.
But that's my whole point is, but you made the statement that it was all about driving. I don't think it's all about driving. I think it's just about skill level. I think I think that's a better metric. I think that those players on the European side were playing far better than the people we picked to play for our side.
Well, yeah.
And again, I do believe that they played toward their strengths, like you said, with the driving.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has more to do with their skill level. It was evident that Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas were not ready to go.
Yeah.
It was evident that Ricky Fowler even was not ready to go. It was evident that a lot of those players were not ready in the sense that they had taken off too long, except for maybe Brooks Koepka. They had taken off too long and hadn't played a tournament 5 weeks out from the event.
Yeah.
So, and again, it cannot be understated of what Justin Rose said. But it can't be understated what he said. I think that Americans need, and not just in golf as well as just total. We need to find some semblance of, and we used to have it. We used to have and I saw somebody saying we need to change our chant, and I just said, "You're a moron."
The USA chant is one of the most powerful chants
in the world.
Or
at least it used to be.
Yeah.
And it used to be that way because everybody in America took pride in being an American. And I think that plays a role in the locker room. I do. I think that plays a role. But the problem is you had a lot of guys that just were there, and it was evident, to play with their buddies. That's why Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth got picked. It's why Ricky Fowler... Well, again, Ricky Fowler actually somewhat played his way into it. It's why... it's somewhat why Ricky got picked. But it's... Zach Johnson treated it like a road trip. And that's what bothers me most of all. And that's what should bother everybody.
Yeah.
Who's upset about it. We should never let Zach Johnson even close to a vice captainship ever. This man is the worst thing that has happened to the American Ryder Cup since name's Tom Watson. And I don't think I'm overstating my case. I think he's worse than Tom Watson did. I think he's worse than what Tom Watson did. But Tom Watson is the one that played Tiger Woods for the mere fact of ratings.
Yeah. So it's kind of...
Sorry, I was gonna say that's one of the worst things that have happened up until now. And now this is worse. Because you quite literally have a guy
who wants his friends to go to Rome with him.
He wants his friends to go to Rome with him and hang out with him.
Yeah.
And it's like, and Justin Rose is exactly right. Europe does it for Europe.
Yeah.
They don't do it for their buddies.
Yeah.
And that's, anyway. But that's, what proves that to me most of all, again, is him taking Aubert. Is him taking a college player. Luke Donald actually thought that was going to give him the best chance to win. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I feel bad for Marunk.
Yeah.
But he thought that Aubert was going to win. He thought that was going to give him the best chance.
Yep.
And he said I could pick all these other guys, but I'm going to pick this guy.
Mm-hmm. So moving kind of along in the same vein, Zane, you brought it up, and his name's been brought up, I think, twice already. But one of the most annoying things in the past, I'm going to say 2 weeks, so you had the Solheim Cup and the Ryder Cup back-to-back, is American journalists whinging about the rules that are involved in the game of both the Ryder Cup and the Solheim Cup to change it so that we won't lose next time if we do this. And Dan Rappaport, I'm talking to you. Dan Rappaport, we need to get rid of ties because, no one likes a tie. And it's like, well, it's not a tie. To get the Ryder Cup, you have to win. You have to win the Ryder Cup to get it.
You know the points you have to get?
The points are set out at the beginning. USA literally had to do less this week to win the Ryder Cup. The ladies in the Solheim Cup had to do more because they had lost it previously.
Yeah.
And then Dan Rappaport coming out this week, we need a third party to come out and set up the courses. Because, I get the whole thing with the crowds, and that's enough of a home field advantage. You shouldn't have to get to set up the course and blah, 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 blah. If you think that the course setup at Whistling Straits wasn't beneficial to the American team, I don't know what Ryder Cup you were watching. When Bryson is going up against Sergio Garcia, Sergio is putting everything he can into the golf ball and getting outdriven by 40 yards. And Bryson is driving greens. He's got 9 irons into par 5s and stuff, and Sergio is hitting like driver 3-wood. I don't know what Ryder Cup you were watching if you don't think that's the case. If it's only bad when your team loses, then it's not bad. So, Zane, you probably have some more to say about this, but, this has been one of the most annoying things of the past couple weeks in golf media. I'm seeing it from Dan Rappaport. I'm seeing it from a bunch of... And it's American media. It's American media personalities that talk about golf. It's American reporters, all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't... We need to get rid of this whole idea from these guys that these guys know what the hell they're talking about. We need to get off of it. I really need them to stop. They're driving me up a wall. And this is why people hate Americans. By the way, this is why people hate us.
Yeah.
I'm almost dead. I'm almost not being facetious. I'm almost not kidding.
Yeah.
But this is really why they hate Americans, is because we don't actually we say we stand on principles.
Yeah.
And then we don't actually stand on those principles.
Well, it's the thing that's like all these guys coming out against people going to live the sanctity of the PGA Tour, and this is where history is, and blah 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 blah. And then we lose the Ryder Cup. We should change the format of the Ryder Cup. We should change the way the courses are set up. It should be done by a neutral party. It's too much of an advantage for the home team. This is how you avoid these blowouts and blah blah blah. It's like
makes you want to put your head through a wall.
Yeah,
is what it does. And Dan Rappaport, again, I think he's a good-meaning guy. I just think that sometimes he just spouts stuff on Twitter to get a reaction. I think that's a lot of what it is, and he sees a common thread that people are saying, because Americans are saying it. It's not just him.
Yeah.
And he feeds it.
Yeah.
And he feeds that kind of thought.
Yeah.
That kind of trail of thought. And the thing is, guys, we lost, plain and simple. There's no, we didn't get cheated out of it. We cheated out of it ourselves, right? You know who cheated us out of it? Zach Johnson. You know who cheated us out of it? Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth for putting their finger on the scale. That's who cheated us out of it. You know who cheated us out of it? PGA Tour, for eliminating the competition of LIV Golf, for not allowing LIV golfers to play in PGA Tour events. You know who cheated us out of it? Those people. That's who cheated us out of it. Not Europe, not the Ryder Cup, not the organization, not the PGA of America. Well, even though the PGA of America put their finger on the scale when according to LIV, but it's not that. It's not the setup. It's not the organization of the tournament. It's all these other people.
Yeah.
We need to be mad at the right people. You need to be, if you're mad about the Ryder Cup and you're mad about the Solheim Cup, be mad at the right people. Be mad at the people that could have made decisions that led to a win. Right?
Yeah.
100%. That's the ultimate take. That's the ultimate take. Be mad at the right people.
Yeah.
And then maybe the right people, maybe the people or the right people will get in there. Maybe the people will do the right things.
Yeah.
But if you're using your anger or your ire to go after the organization of the Ryder Cup and the tradition and how it's always been,
Yeah. When
That's
your
why
whole
people
thing
hate
is history.
That's why people hate us.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yep.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about with regard to the Ryder Cup was the controversy on the 18th hole of day 2 between Rory McIlroy and Joe Lacava.
Yes,
Obviously, this blew up on Twitter. There's been a lot of takes both back and forth. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? I actually think this is pretty black and white. And this might be the most shocking take I've ever had on this podcast because I've said a lot of things.
Just because of how you preface that, I know what you're going to say.
I think 100% Joe Lacava is in the wrong.
Okay, explain.
So, number one, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate this as an argument. He wasn't in Rory's line. That's not the issue.
Yes. Yeah, okay, well, thank you.
He was not in Rory's line.
Thank you.
He was not in Rory's line. He's not in Rory's line. He wasn't walking anywhere near Rory's line for the putt. That's not why I have an issue with what Joe Lacava did on the 18th green. That's not it at all. He was nowhere near the line. I'll just put it that way. Okay? What he was, though, was in the way of Rory's putting routine. Okay? I get that your guy made a big putt. You're excited. You're doing the hat thing. Woo! All that jazz. I get it.
Well,
it's a Ryder Cup. No. It's a Ryder Cup. Emotions are high. You can celebrate. The problem or the issue I have with Joe Lacava's actions actually doesn't have to do with him celebrating at all.
You do know what was going on that whole day, right?
I do.
Okay.
A hostile crowd.
Go ahead and finish what you were saying, and I'll come in with the counter argument.
Okay. Hostile crowd. Making fun of the fact that Cantley's not wearing a hat. Okay. The issue I had with what Joe Lacava did was when Rory asked him to move, and then Rory says, "Hey, can you please move? I'm trying to line up my putt." And he starts going over to his ball. Joe Lacava starts barking at him. And he continues to bark at him as Rory is trying to line up his ball and he's down on the ground not talking. That's the issue I have. That's a horrible look. Horrible look.
Okay.
And then as Rory continues to line up his putt, he starts doing his practice strokes. European team gets mad, and they start saying, "Hey, get away from our guy," and he starts barking at them. So, you guys know me. I don't like Rory McIlroy. Don't like him at all. I think he's the biggest, I think he's the biggest hypocrite. I think he's the biggest faker in the entire world of golf. It's either him or Brandon Chambly. It's 1A, 1B. Okay? But I don't think Rory did anything wrong in that entire exchange, and I do believe Joe Lacava did something wrong in that exchange, and that's why, in this instance, I think Rory has a right to be upset with Joe Lacava. I hear it was handled at the end of the weekend, and that they're cool now or whatever, but there you go. That's my take. Zane, go ahead. Give me a counter argument.
I'm sure with this, you're just as wrong as those refs were on Monday Night Football. On Sunday Night Football. I'm sure you're just as wrong with that as the refs were.
In which instance?
No, they were wrong. That's what I'm saying. The refs were wrong, and so are you. You were exactly right in saying, in dispelling one of the common talking points on Twitter or X about him being in his line. It's evident from all the footage, every angle, every view, that Joe Lacava was, in fact, not in Rory's line.
Yeah.
So that dispels that myth. The second thing was that you said I have a particular issue with.
Okay.
And that is how you said that he just politely told him to move out of his line or out of his way while he was reading.
Okay.
It does not look like he was being polite at all.
Well, you know what, Zane?
It doesn't look like he was being polite at all with Joe Lacava.
Okay.
Now, granted, I will grant you this. He didn't act like the bigger man. Joe Lacava did not. I'll grant you this, that he did not act how I would act in that situation. And I'll grant you this, that he may not be the most upstanding person. But I do in fact think Rory said more than just, hey, do you mind moving aside while I putt? I can almost guarantee that he didn't just say that.
Okay.
And on top of this, all day, and you kind of have to have a little bit of sympathy for Cantlay and Joe Lacava. All day, the entire round, people were barking at his player, at Patrick Cantlay, about not wearing a hat, based off of a false media story by Jamie Weir.
Yep.
That he was doing it in protest of not getting paid for the Ryder Cup.
Yep.
So it was 100% false. The European fans ran with it and decided to treat him with the utmost animosity. They treated another player, Brooks Koepka, exactly the same way, with the utmost animosity. I'm guessing because he's a live player.
Mm-hmm.
And they should be, again, the European fans are jackasses.
Okay.
If you don't mind me saying that. Now,
I don't mind
does that excuse him acting the way he did and like making a big fuss out of it about Rory? No. But Rory was not at fault. He was definitely at fault for that exchange. And rather than walking it away and being the bigger man, what did we see? We didn't see him being the bigger man. Not only that, we saw it escalate. We saw it escalate whenever they were trying to get into the cars. Shane Lowry had to literally pull Rory back, push him into the vehicle. Like, credit to Lowry for being the bigger man. Lowry was the one that confronted Joe, said, hey, dude, you got to calm down. Looked all calm. You know? Shane Lowry was the one who did that.
Okay, so
don't credit Rat McIlroy.
I'm gonna call BS, kinda, on your.
On
the European fans treated the U.S. team badly. Zane, I'm sorry. Grow up.
But no. But it was specifically him. You understand that, right? It wasn't like they were just. It wasn't just the run-of-the-mill average American player. They did it based off this story, waving their hats at him, moving while he's hitting the golf ball. Right? They're the ones saying things while he's setting up over his golf ball. That's different. That is extremely different than simply saying something before the man even gets ready to hit a shot, or trying to get in his head in that regard. You understand this, right?
I understand it, but I'm saying if you think that American fans don't do the same thing to European players when they come over here, that's just ridiculous.
All I've got to say is even Rom had something to say about the European fans.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Even Team Europe, even the players on Team Europe, understood that some fans were acting, and Rom was in that group, one of those groups. Even John Rahm knew that it was too rambunctious. There's a line, and they all know that line, right? That line can get a little blurry from time to time.
Yeah.
But even Rahm, I would say that that's crossing the line. If your own team is saying, hey, guys, we need to chill this crap out, then you're crossing the line. And so I think Joe Lacava had 18 holes of it and had enough of it, and that's why he was in the middle of the green waving his hat. That's why all the American players, not just Joe Lacava, were waving their hat at him.
Yeah.
And Rory was mad because they made the putt. So Rory's mad like a little girl, and because he made the putt and made him mad. And so obviously that set him off, and then obviously Joe Lacava getting in his way because he was in his way from. I get that he was being distracting.
Well,
so
it's not just that he was being distracting. He's impeding the player.
No, he wasn't.
He absolutely was, Zane.
He absolutely wasn't.
Rory had to step around him to get to his ball.
The crowd was still loud whenever Rory did not have to putt immediately.
He didn't have to putt immediately. That's not what I'm saying. No. I'm saying he's going through the process of reading putt. Zane, if we went out and played golf, and you were reading a putt, and you went to the other side of the hole to read it, and then you came back to this side, and I literally was going...
They're celebrating, Zach. It's the last hole.
I get it. I get that you're celebrating. But he walks toward the middle of the green to celebrate. Instead of going to where the grandstands are behind or over here away from the green, he walks toward the hole to wave his hat at the fans. I get it. You're passionate. I understand. You've been getting hounded all day. Your guy's been getting hounded all day. I get it. Okay? But, like you said, you can't excuse his actions. Because he's not in the right. Whether Rory's upset he made the putt or not.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You said it, not me. You said he didn't handle it well.
He didn't handle it well.
I'm saying he didn't handle it well. We agree.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm saying that Rory's not in the wrong for saying, hey, can you get... Even if he cussed at him. Even if he said, hey, can you get the F out of my way?
Which I think he did.
He might have. I don't know.
I think he did.
But... For the viewers at home, we're going to let you make your own decision on this. We're going to watch the video here right now.
Please do.
Okay, I'm going to...
Please do.
Okay. I wanted to peek the mic so I know where to cut. Because I got to look the video up.
You wanted to peek the mic? You're going to wake people up. People are going to be angry.
That was my fault. I didn't even think about that.
You're an idiot. Why not just spit on the mic? Won't that have the same effect?
Oh, you're right. I could have just gone like...
You could have literally just gone up to the mic and just peeked it.
I'm sorry. I didn't think. I was just going.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
I was just running with it. I'm sorry.
Please put this on bloopers. Oh. Dude, I hope you cut this out and put it as a short. In and of itself, I hope you put it as a short. That would be the best short ever. That would get us so many views. I'm not even gonna lie. That alone.
What? I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I was using half of a brain cell. Let me see if this has.
All flights have
That's
been
great
grounded.
stuff. That's gold.
The city was sticky and cruel.
The distance is nothing when home means everything.
Supposedly saying that Cantley not wearing a hat for reasons that had to do with payment in the Ryder Cup or lack thereof, and Cantley from 43 feet out drains it.
Yeah, and really letting his clubs do the talking. 16, 17 of that bomb on 18, teaming with Wyndham Clark.
Yeah. Do you believe the whole conspiracy that the Chiefs
from his
got
teammates?
those
I kind of do, honestly.
They're in the gloaming.
Yeah.
Especially, did you see that NFL header? Chiefs are 2-0 as Swifties after the game.
Are you serious?
Yeah, on their Instagram page.
At Marco Simone, but now you see Patrick's caddy, Joe Lacava, getting involved in waving his
You guys better talk about that in your pod.
So the whole team was getting fired up over this and relishing the moment in a hostile road environment. But then Joe Lacava takes the celebration.
Okay, here we go. We'll watch the whole sequence.
A whole sequence of events. Here we go.
Control
I love
C
it. I love
and
it.
Control V det. Okay, I need to send you the code, don't I?
Yeah, just send it through the text channels. Oh, I don't have access. Oh, I can see them though, right? Announcements.
I'm not gonna put it in the announcement.
Things getting a little.
Put it in the content page.
No.
Sports talk page. General. Put it in the general.
Can I just send it to you directly?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Where's the link? Oh, there you go. Copy.
Oh, you can direct message me in this shit?
Yeah, I can.
That's pretty dope,
Hold
though.
on. There you go. DM'd. There we go.
Alright, I'm ready.
Okay. Ready? Okay.
Ready to roll.
So I'm gonna mute
Peek
this.
the mic again. Peek the mic again. Alright.
Okay.
I don't think you peeked it, but... I think you should just go... like really close to it. Or do you want me to peek it for you?
Yeah, go ahead, peek it. You're not even close to peeking it. Do it again. Do it again. That's too easy. Zane, can you talk for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure our audio levels are good going into this.
So
I'm gonna go ahead and mute the video.
Right? I definitely peeked it, right?
No, you didn't.
You're lying.
It sounded like no noise came out, honestly. Alrighty, so, are you in the thing?
Yeah, I'm in the thing. I'm ready to go.
Okay, let me switch over to this one. Okay. And I'm muting it. We can talk while this is going on. So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So 18th hole, Patrick Cantlay has a putt. Everyone's waving their hats at him because of the false story again. About him in protest for not getting paid. Makes a huge putt. I mean,
that was such a good putt.
that was a really good putt. Big moment
Such
too.
a freaking good putt.
Huge moment in the match.
There's him waving his hat.
Nope, that's Wyndham Clark's caddy.
Yeah.
Give it a second. So the whole Team USA is doing the same thing. So here we go. Here goes his caddy. Toward the ball, toward the middle of the green, still waving it, still waving it, still waving it, still waving it. Now he's right next to Rory.
He wasn't getting in his way. I told you.
He was, dude.
No, Rory could have walked easily beside him. Easily.
And look at he's barking at him now.
Yeah, he's barking at him.
It's just a bad
Because
look.
he probably said, "Get the F out of my way." See? See, even Bones is right there. He's not talking down.
And then here's afterward.
Look, but even Bones, one of the nicest people ever. No one thinks Bones is a bad person. Bones isn't talking to him. Bones isn't talking to Joe.
It's because Bones is trying to defuse the situation. Okay, wait. I'm gonna pause it here, and we're gonna listen to what
No,
Rory.
let's just listen to. Just listen to him.
Listen to
just
what
keep
Rory
going.
had to say.
Just
Well, I
listen,
don't have
keep-
the sound on mine.
Well, real quick, I just want to say, real quick, so you can turn the sound up. Real quick, I just wanted to say, that video definitely proves my point. He could have
disagree.
easily walked. He could have. Did not stand in direct line of his path that he was walking. It's very evident he had definitely at least 2 yards in between the two people, and he could have easily walked behind his ball where he was going. That's without a doubt. You can't disagree with that. That is borne out by the evidence. The other thing, the only reason for the outsized reaction is because he cussed at him. That's the only reason for the outsized reaction. It is extremely doubtful that he simply asked, "Hey, Joe Lacava, or hey, Joe, do you mind moving?" It is extremely doubtful he even said that. I'd love to see a lip read off of what he said to Joe.
I mean, yeah, I would too, but I don't think it's all that relevant.
I think it's very relevant.
Okay, well, we're going to listen to what Rory has to say.
All after the European win.
Look, we talked about it as a team last night. We felt like it was disrespectful. And, you know, it wasn't just disrespectful to Fitz and I. It was disrespectful for the whole team. I get that, you know, we get the banter when we go over to the States and play, and, you know, the same happens here. It's the way it is. It's the way the Ryder Cup goes, and you have to have thick skin. That's just the way it is.
Has Joe apologized to you? And if not, do you want him to?
So we've texted. We haven't seen each other face to face, but we've texted, and everything will be fine. But, you know, it's a it's a point of contention, and it still hurts. But, you know, time's a great healer, and we'll all move on.
And one man who was practically in the...
Okay, don't care what that one man has to say.
I want to keep going. Yep. I want to keep going. Let's listen to what he says. Let's keep going. Come on.
The middle of that scrum on Saturday evening. Our own Todd Lewis joins us now from Italy. Tilo, from your perspective, what happened on that 18th green on Saturday evening?
Let's listen to what he said.
Well, I want to go back prior to the 18th green, and Patrick Cantlay throughout his match, because of that report that was on social media that Cantlay was not wearing a hat because he was protesting not getting paid to play or participate in the Ryder Cup. Some fans were waving their hats at him throughout the entire match, it seemed like. And Rory McIlroy was trying to do his best from a competitive perspective to calm the crowd down as Patrick was about to hit a shot or try to attempt a putt. So we get to that 18th green, and we saw Patrick hit that incredible putt. And he starts giving it back to the fans a bit, and so did Joe Lacava, his caddy. And I feel like Joe got a little bit into the moment, maybe a bit too much, and kind of walked close to Rory, and they said something to each other. And then I believe personally that Joe was just intense at that moment. And then Rory obviously had a putt to make to tie the hole, but he didn't make it. Now, my immediate thing I wanted to watch after that exchange was how did Joe Lacava and Rory McIlroy respond to each other during the handshake. Now, they shook each other's hands. There was a bit of friction, no doubt about it, but they seemed to talk it through. I watched Rory McIlroy put his arm on the shoulder of Joe Lacava, and I thought things were settled. Then he came over and started talking to some of the European Tour players, specifically Shane Lowry, and Shane was like, "Come on, Joe." And again, there was a little bit of friction there. Joe, we get it. We got it at Whistling Straits 2 years ago. The crowd's going to get here to you. That's just part of the Ryder Cup. And Joe said back to him, he's like, "Look, I was just having fun." I'm quoting here. "We're getting our ass kicked, and I just wanted to give it back to the crowd." And so they kind of worked it out there. They laughed about it. Justin Rose actually said to Joe Lacava, "We thought it was pretty funny that you waved the hat back." But I thought things were done on that green. But obviously,
they weren't.
Rory mentioned in his press
they weren't because of this.
The European team went back into their team room, had a discussion about it, and it got pretty fiery. And that's why
he said that is effing awful. That is an effing disgrace. 100% that was the lip read on that.
Yeah, I agree with that lip read.
To Bones, he knows Bones is really.
But he's saying that to Bones.
Yeah, he's not pointing it at. He's not pointing at Bones when he says it.
He's probably pointing at Joe.
Yeah.
That was the first American he saw. But
I can imagine.
I mean, it's still a bit tense as to what happened Saturday, and I think it fueled many of the players, specifically Rory McIlroy, on Sunday. Look, I think Joe
Okay, I'm done listening to this guy talk.
Yeah, I am too. Okay.
Frankly.
So I don't know. I think they both acted. Again, I still stand by the fact Rory McIlroy said something that set him off. I stand by that. I don't know. I have no evidence. I'd love to see a lip read. I know what he said there. He said that is effing awful. That is an effing disgrace.
Isn't it? Based off the information we have so far?
That it's effing awful and effing disgrace?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
A caddy shouting at a player as he's an opposing caddy shouting at a player as he's lining up a putt. To tie the hole.
We saw that he said something to Joe, right?
Huh?
We saw that he said something to Joe.
Yeah.
So, no, I would say that it definitely doesn't show that it's an effing disgrace and it's effing awful, unless we know what if you I'd give it to you if you didn't see him say anything to Joe. And we saw Joe barking at him.
To me, it doesn't even matter if he said anything.
See, that's just a bad take.
No, it's not.
It is.
No. Zane, a caddy should never be a part of the conversation when we're talking to a Ryder Cup. The only time a caddy is mentioned when we're talking about a Ryder Cup is if they pulled the wrong club. That's the only time we should ever be talking about a caddy.
You're right.
He inserted himself into the situation he is in currently.
Because he was sticking up for his player.
Was he sticking up for his player when he shouted at Rory McIlroy as he was trying to read his putt?
No.
That's the thing I have a problem with. Irrelevant of everything else.
That was probably because of what Rory said to him.
I don't care.
Well, it doesn't matter if you don't care because that's what probably happened. And
I'm not saying it's not what happened. I'm saying it doesn't matter.
It does matter, because Rory's a grown ass man. So is Joe Lacava, right? Do I wish that he didn't say anything to Rory? Yeah, you can always say something later. Why say something then? That doesn't make sense. But it's probably just because he's not that well emotionally regulated. We know what those guys are like. You know, a lot of them are weird and maybe a little bit autistic. You know what I mean? But that doesn't prove that what?
No, keep going, man.
They are a little like they lack some emotional intelligence for sure. I mean, I would say a lot of those guys that play, or perform at an elite level are kind of like that. No,
I don't know.
But beside the point, he was sticking up for his player whenever he was waving the hat around.
Mm-hmm.
He was giving it back to the crowd. He 100% was. For too long? I think so. I think he made a point. You made the point. The other players had already started reading their putts. Get off the green. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that totally.
Okay.
But was he standing directly in the line of Rory McIlroy? No. Was he standing in the line that Rory McIlroy was walking around to get to his ball? No. Yes. No, he wasn't. That's just, you saw the video.
Yeah, I know. I saw the video. And he's walking this way. Rory's walking this way. And he is continuing to go forward.
No, he wasn't walking that fast. He was maybe, like, going back and forth with his feet.
Zane,
he wasn't walking.
Rory should not have to avoid him in that situation.
Agreed. Rory didn't have to avoid him. He could have kept walking. But because he's a diva and he needs all this personal space, he probably said something like,
Zane, I will keep this in mind for the next time we play.
He probably said something like, get the F out of my way.
Yeah.
Zach. We always stand closer than these guys stand whenever they're putting. We always stand closer to each other than these guys stand. You've seen the footage of when these guys stand on the green. They're standing like 10 yards, 15, 20 yards away. Zach, we're standing feet away from each other whenever we're playing. So would this bother me? Absolutely not.
Okay. We'll see.
I'm just saying. This is ridiculous. The fact that this bothers Rory McIlroy to the extent that it did.
To the extent that it did, if he just said, get the F out of my way, and that was it, and then Joe...
That's an outside reaction.
Zane. If you're going to say... You're going to say that every time you've told me to get the F out of the way, that you have been, like, enraged, infumed with rage. I'm going to call BS.
I've never told you to get the F out of my way when I'm putting.
No. Period. Have you ever said, get the F out of my way and not been mad?
No, I'm sure I've said it to you.
Yeah.
And it's usually when I am enraged. If I say, get the F out of my way, yeah, it's usually because I'm really angry. Yes.
Okay, 110%. Zane's just trying to sound good here. No, he says that for like the most non-thing.
We are not like that. Like, they're not best buddies. They're not brothers. What are you talking about?
Zane, sometimes
their context to their relationship is not like ours. To tell not a complete stranger, but to tell not a friend, get the F out of my way, is not just like me telling Logan or one of my best friends, get the F out of my way.
They're okay. First off, to say Lacava and Rory are complete strangers is the wildest thing you've said so far.
They're not complete strangers. I didn't say that.
You said to tell a complete stranger.
Their context is closer to that of complete strangers than it is to best friends. They're acquaintances.
Wait, no, pause. No, it's not. No, absolutely not. Complete strangers have never met before. They don't have each other's phone numbers. What are you talking about?
This is Zach. This is ridiculous.
Zane, no, you're wrong on this. All right, final topic. I'm done with the Joe Lacava story. He did a bad thing. I don't think he's a bad person, but he did a bad thing. I think Rory is a bad person, and I don't think he's in the wrong here. So moving on. Schauffle, not Schauffle.
Simplest explanation is most likely the truth. Rory's the craphead. I'm just saying. Rory said something to make him do that.
Hey Zane, good people sometimes do bad things.
I agree. And he did do a bad thing. We agreed on that, actually.
So then I don't even know why we're having an argument. He did a bad thing.
Because I'm telling you he wasn't. Takes two to tango, pal. Takes two.
I don't disagree. I think your Rory hate is clouding your judgment here. But anyway, we have one more topic to discuss.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
I try and look at everything from an objective angle because I'm Zach Shadamas.
I try to.
I'm best friends with Aristotle here, and we're gonna keep it pushing. Talking about Schauffle and the PGA. This is a report.
Oh, please go over this in depth. Please.
Yeah, so this is actually probably the most interesting story, in my opinion, that's come out over the past, I don't know, it's came out, I believe, in the last 48 hours.
Yes.
About report that Xander Schauffle almost lost his Ryder Cup spot over issues with a player benefit agreement between himself and the PGA of America, not the PGA Tour, which I want to clarify are two separate entities. Okay? So the source for this report is his father. Mm-hmm. So it's different from, the locker room's not together.
From Jamie Weir.
Yeah, it's different from Jamie Weir, who's a complete liar and a jerk.
Oh, we should 100% never, and we will do this. We will make sure to do this on the podcast. We're never going to bring up a story from Jamie Weir ever again, because just like Alan Shipnick, he's a complete liar and he publishes total falsehoods.
Yes. So,
can we just agree that we're never gonna
bring it unless
Alan
it's to
Shipnick?
Make fun of him? I will.
Yes.
There's a caveat. Unless it's to make fun.
Caveat. But we're never gonna bring up Alan Shipnick or Jamie Weir unless it's ironic or we're making fun of them.
So this is a story out of the Times of London on Monday, and it's his place on the roster was in jeopardy ahead of the match at Marco Simone because of a disagreement regarding the Ryder Cup's player participation benefit agreement. According to Schauffele's father, Stefan, he claims that the PGA of America threatened to take away Schauffle, threatened to take him off the team if Xander didn't sign the agreement ahead of the unspecified September deadline. According to his father, they had sent it to him in July, and that he had requested changes he wanted made to that contract. 3 separate changes, one of which was specified, the other 2 weren't. One of which was access from the Netflix documentary Full Swing Team
into the locker room.
But according to Stefan, the PGA of America did not respond to any inquiries about the amendments, and that was the last they heard of him until about kind of what it sounds like is like a couple weeks before the team goes to Rome to practice. He gets basically a letter saying, if you don't sign this, we're taking you off the team. that's the quote, actually. He says, if you don't sign it by then, you're off the team. If you don't sign it by the time that you go to Rome to practice, then you're off the team.
And that was a...
But they never gave contact information for their legal counsel or anything.
And that was the... That was... Okay, he received a message. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Stefan told the Times that on September 2nd, after the head of the PGA of America, so I'm assuming they're talking about CEO Seth Waugh. It didn't specify him in the story, but that's who you can assume it was. If it's the head of the PGA of America, you assume it's either CEO Seth Waugh or president of the PGA of America.
Probably Seth Waugh, yeah.
And he said that they finally got the issues or the resolutions to the questions that Schauffle wanted answered 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Xander was back. After that, he received a message that Xander was back on the team. And he said that he thought it was shameful. The PGA was asked for given a request for comment, and they said, as always, we are not going to comment on private conversations with our Ryder Cup members. Anything else interesting? They talk a little bit about the whole fake story about being paid and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like one final quote from Stefan Schauffle. I think we have to have a meaningful conversation about it. This is a long game. Maybe in 2 or 3 Ryder Cups when the parties have decided to come to the table instead of leaving the elephant standing around in the middle of the golf course. It's all about improving this product instead of being secretive or communicative. The PGA of America and the Ryder Cup Europe need to be more transparent and disclose how this money from the Ryder Cup is being distributed.
That's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know this before this week. But, like, the American guys aren't getting paid to be there.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Ryder Cup players don't get paid.
That's wild. With how much money that event makes, that's wild.
Well, what's worse, that's not all that terrible. Because, like, the Olympics, you don't get paid for the Olympics.
True.
However, they do pay the PGA Tour a talent fee for these players. That's gross.
What was it that Phil said about getting paid? God, something in the back of my head is screaming about a episode of the Chunk and Run podcast that we did 2 years ago about Phil Mickelson complaining about how the PGA Tour is exploiting its players.
It's hard to reach back into the memory hole that long.
Yeah, it's tough. But Zane, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this is a pretty big story that's flown. I mean, I haven't seen it at all on X.
Yeah.
This is a pretty big story that's flown completely under the radar.
It has. And I'm glad you're bringing it up because I didn't know about it before you told me about it. So, here's the deal, right? And I think this goes without saying. I think the PGA of America... the PGA of America...
Yeah.
And per that, the PGA Tour... they are running just like the NCAA, just like the NFL. They are a cartel. And so you pay to play, right? So, for instance, I'll give you an example. They raised, Zach knows this, they used to have, for a playability test, they used to have a certain number that you had to shoot, right? And that was the qualifying score.
Yeah.
Right? And you had to pass that before taking any next steps.
Yep.
Meaning you had to pass that before you take any next steps. Not a hard score to shoot.
Nope.
Not
if you're a decent golfer, you should be able to.
If you're a good golfer,
if you're a good golfer, you should be able to shoot.
If you're a good golfer, you should be able to beat.
Yeah.
Right. Some people think they're good and probably aren't.
Well, that's the thing that with me is people say, oh, the playability test is like, oh, only 20% of people pass it. But like,
yeah, they were saying like the high fail rate. I heard the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, well, when I played it, I played pretty bad and managed to pass. I've told the story about my PAT.
Yeah.
I didn't play well, and I was able to pass,
Yeah.
I think, by 3 shots.
Oh, I didn't play well either. I passed flying colors, so it's like, and obviously preparation goes into it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go never. So real quick for any of the PGA or future PGA professionals that want to play in it, never just think that you're going to make it.
Yep.
Right? Because there is a huge mental block. And I think that leads to part of that fail rate is keep shooting a number. Right?
Yeah, shooting a number. And then another thing is prepare for the course.
Yeah.
I was playing a Jack Nicklaus design. What did Jack Nicklaus designs have? A lot of trouble around the greens. You got to hit greens. So what did I do? All the whole month before, I worked almost entirely on irons. Almost entirely. Did it cost me a little bit off the tee when it came time? Yeah. But you know what I wasn't in? A lot of bunkers, which the course I played at had 4 bunkers around every single green, at least.
Yeah. So my, again, the PGA of America is 100% a cartel. They literally make it to where in this industry you have to have their logo next to your name to do anything.
Yep.
Right? To be considered for any jobs, to do anything. Whether or not you're good.
And
I've
at
seen
the end of
several PGA professionals that are terrible.
Yep.
I've seen several PGA instructors that are bad.
I've seen a lot of Class A's that are bad.
Seen a lot of Class A's that are terrible. And just so people understand what Class A means, it just means you're a PGA member in good standing. That's what it means. It means you passed all your stuff.
I'll talk about something. There's one more thing I want to say.
Okay.
After this segment.
Let me finish.
But
So PGA of America is 100% a cartel. They take your money, your dues, and in exchange you get a
logo next to your name.
You get a logo next to your name, and that is essentially it. They do have some perks. They do have some things that are not tremendous. Like, they certainly don't feel like they are tit for tat. You do get to purchase Masters tickets. You do get to purchase other tickets to other events that aren't, available to the public.
Yeah.
Or maybe that are, right? But, long story short, they 100% are a money-making endeavor.
Yeah.
They are there to make the money. That's why they changed that. So now you can, I went all the way around to say this. Now you can shoot way above that qualifying score and still start your books.
Yeah.
And still start your qualifying level, your level 1, right?
Yeah.
And you can stay not qualified until you need to pass for level 3 to get your PGA.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's so nuts.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible.
Wow. And also,
that's why I hate the PGA.
Well, you're exactly right. Just some personal experience stuff. Unless your employer is taking care of your PGA education, it is unaffordable as a golf professional.
Yes.
Especially starting out.
Preach. This is why you actually have a lot of trust fund kids that are PGA professionals.
Yeah.
That do work at these really private facilities because they know somebody. Yeah. Right? Not going to say names, but one of the reps for one of the brands, and this happens all over the golf industry. It's not like it's just the PGA, but
yeah.
But one of the brands, the guy was literally just knew somebody at the right club, or his buddy was at a certain club, and he got the job. I'll mention to Zach who this is off the air.
Yeah.
Now that's not to say some of them aren't good at their jobs.
Yeah.
Or some of them don't end up being good, but they definitely don't. Other people don't get a fair shake.
Yeah.
Other probably more qualified people don't get a fair shake, and it's the same thing with the PGA, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew Danny DeLuca, one of the people that have been on the podcast before. I think he was. I can't remember exactly what he was up for, but he made it to like the 3rd round. It was for one of these really private clubs. I don't know if I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It was one of the premium, like PGA Tour plays there for the U.S. Open sometimes.
Wow.
I can't remember. He got through like the second round, and they didn't take him.
Who'd they take?
I can't remember, but I'm sure it was a trust fund kid. But all these trust fund kids, all these kids with money, and that's not bashing people who have money.
Yeah.
Or connections, but they all get those courses. They all get those private facilities. I know some of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name them because that would be rude and insensitive. But it happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's ludicrous. And that's why the PGA charges what they do.
Yeah.
Because for those people that get in those positions that don't need to make anything better for themselves, they're fine paying that money.
Yeah.
That's nothing to them.
Yeah.
But for the people that didn't grow up with money, it's a huge hurdle.
Yeah. I mean,
huge hurdle.
When I was working as a full-time coach, I mean, I had enough money to take my qualifying exam to get in, but then to do any of the seminars, it's like $700, $1,000. It's like that expensive. Not only that, when you pass your exam, you have to pay for level 1. You don't automatically just get into level 1. It's like another $750 just to get your level 1.
$795, I think.
Yeah. I couldn't even do that because I'm working paycheck to paycheck as a coach, trying to fill up my books and do all that stuff. I'm trying to pay rent, Uncle Sam, the state of Georgia. I'm trying to pay my insurance bills I have to pay. I'm trying to pay back student loans. I've got all these other expenses I can't afford $750 of expenses. It's just not something I could do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're exactly right. It is a money-making machine, and you can see it, the prices. I mean, to do an online seminar.
And they don't do a need. And here's the thing. Here's what separates them from other organizations. They don't do a needs-based program.
Yeah.
They don't. They don't have a needs-based program.
Yeah.
If you're like an underprivileged person.
Yeah.
No, it's a flat rate across the board.
Yeah.
Which you can argue is fair, but you can also argue it's a barrier to entry for lower class people.
Yeah.
You know? And what if some of these, and they tout like they want to reach these communities.
Yeah.
These underprivileged communities. And I call bull crap. On
well, I mean,
I think
some all you have to do is look at
trying to.
Zane, all you have to do is look at our experience with the PGA Junior League to know that they don't want to grow anything.
Yes.
They want the appearance of growth.
Yes.
Without growth.
Yes.
We've talked about that before a couple times, so you can find that in the archives of the Chunk and Run podcast somewhere. But one more thing I wanted to mention was my absolute disdain for the PGA of America commercial during the Ryder Cup.
Morikawa one?
He might have been in it, but that's not the part I had a problem with.
Okay, that's not it then, because he was the main focus of that commercial.
Okay. The main part I had a problem with...
Can you play it? Can you pull it up in the watch together?
I can try.
Let's try.
Let me try.
There, I maxed it out, so that way you know.
Okay. Let me look this up. Okay, come on now.
I actually hurt my ears when I did that.
PGA of America Ryder Cup.
That really hurt my ears when I did that. Did I hurt your ears when I did that?
No.
You must have me very low.
I don't.
Okay.
Discord stops you from peeking.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. It doesn't stop me from peeking myself.
No. Where's that commercial?
Oh, is that why I can't peek your stream?
Yeah, I think that's why.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a bummer.
I can't find the commercial.
So you're going to have to peek it. Here, you want me to find it and send
I'm
it to
looking
you?
it up. 1 second.
It should be on their page, on their YouTube. PGA. Here, I'm gonna just look it up on.
Can't find it anywhere. There's all this other Ryder Cup stuff, but
It should be on not PGA Tour. It should be on PGA of America YouTube. Because that's how they do it. What they do is they upload it and then they use that as their PGA of America. Here it is. Is it We Love the Game? We Love This Game?
I think that's it. Can you send that to me?
Yes, I can. It's literally the first thing on their thing.
Okay, well, I tried to search it individually. I couldn't find it. Did you send it?
Yeah, I'm trying, Zach.
Oh, no, I was just asking. Sorry.
Why is it not letting me? Oh, here we go. I got it. Yep. I'm gonna put it in here.
In where?
There we go.
What is it about this game we love so much?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Pause it. Rewind it, because I'm not on it.
It's the community you build.
I got it.
Okay. Take it all the way back. Okay. This is it. I'm 100% sure this is it. I got so triggered. I don't get triggered that often, but I was really triggered. Okay. We in the right spot? We are. Okay, you can play it now.
I can play it now?
Yeah.
Alright, let's play it.
What is it about this game we love so much? Is that it can never be perfected. It's the community you build.
So that I can practice anywhere. It's because it's a game for everyone.
Whatever the reason, it all begins with a PGA of America golf professional like me.
PGA of America. We love this game.
What a commercial, right? What a great commercial is what the PGA of America wants you to think.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why I'm triggered by this, Zane. And you're probably going to disagree with me.
Well, makes for good podcastery.
I hate the fact that, and I'm gonna preface this by saying, no, I'm not gonna preface it at all. I changed my mind. I hate the fact that they're saying it all starts with a PGA professional like me, and they put Michael Block's face on it. Yeah, I'll give you a hint on how many lessons Michael Block has given in the past year, maybe 5. He's practically a playing professional. And he's been that for several years at this point. It doesn't start with a PGA professional like Michael Block. It doesn't. Why don't you just get some random guy working at a small club? Starts with a PGA professional like me. I get that Michael Block's big in the news now and that he's the guy now. I mean, some people were saying, oh, you should have picked him for the Ryder Cup, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But, I mean, that's why I was triggered. I'm like, this guy, like, I get it. Feel good story, PGA professional, qualifies for the what's it called? The PGA Championship. Plays extremely well. Finishes, I think, top 10?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic feel-good story. You know, he deserves all the kudos for that. But let's not get it twisted. He is far from the norm. So far from the norm that it's night and day. That's why I was triggered by that commercial. It's really nice they set up a lit range to where he can pretend giving a lesson for the 0 lessons he's given in 8 weeks while he's trying to qualify for every PGA Tour event from here till 2028.
Wow. But I just found something that's going to bolster your argument, and now I agree with you. I was going to disagree.
Yeah.
Because I had heard all the stories about him. I just don't like being wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do research. And, we heard all about him offering, like, lessons for $125 and then $150 at his club and as the head pro, club pro, at his Arroyo Mountain Club or whatever. He just put himself underwater in my head. This comes from Golf Monthly, so it's a pretty reputable source. It says, quote, "I haven't accepted a new client in about 5 years," end quote, from Michael Block.
I rest my case. That's why I was triggered. I was triggered for that. That's why I was triggered. It all starts with a PGA professional like me. No, it doesn't. It literally doesn't. Why not use a top 100 guy? Or several. And be like, and have him do the whole, like me. If you want Michael Block in there, go have like 5 of those guys go like me. Like PGA Top 100. Like me. PGA Top 100. Like me. PGA Top 100. And then, like
worse.
me, Michael Block.
It gets worse.
I don't want it, Zane.
It gets worse. Block replied, "So actually, Trev, it's $150 per hour, and I haven't accepted a new client in about 5 years. Quote, I give a couple lessons, and I've learned that the people I give lessons to are the people I like to hang out with." The first 10 to 15 years of instructing, I would say yes to everybody because I was trying to put $1 in the bank and raise a couple boys and be home to my wife. Now I've been fortunate enough to play some decent golf in the last couple years and make enough money to where I don't have to grind it out on the range all day long. But now I usually give about 2 or 3 lessons a week to people I love to be around. So he's not really giving that. Let me just say for the folks out there, that doesn't mean what you think it means. That means that he has people at his club that will pay him tips to go play with him.
Yep.
That's all it means. That doesn't mean that he's actually giving lessons.
Yeah.
He'll give him tips. That doesn't mean giving lessons.
And due to the number of tournaments he plays, there's no way he's giving
2 or 3. No.
2 or 3.
No.
There's no way. Because right now he's basically on a tour around the U.S.
Yep.
Trying to qualify for PGA Tour events.
Yep.
Which, good on him. I don't have a problem with him doing that. It's fine.
Go, boy.
It's fine.
I will say, though,
but he's not.
Here's the deal. He used to be that guy.
He did.
Right? So I don't blame the PGA Tour for putting this out there. I know you do. I know
no,
you have a real
it's not about me blaming the PGA Tour. I just think it's it triggered me because
Tour,
it's
PGA
like
of
that's not what it is. That's just not what it is.
That guy. He used to be that guy. So he even said in the interview he used to be that guy.
Yeah. So
that I don't see the problem with the commercial. I know you still do. I know in your mind you still do. I don't see a problem with the commercial. It used to be you.
It's triggering.
I get it.
Because it's like saying it's like the CEO. It's like the CEO of a big company coming out and saying, I started as a janitor working in the closet on the first floor, and now I'm in the penthouse.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to be a good janitor? Be like me, CEO Mark Zuckerberg.
Trust me.
That's why I was triggered. That's why I was triggered.
And it's 100% accurate that you should be frustrated with that.
Because there's a way they could have done it that would have been more tasteful to me, like the way I just explained it, and you still get the star power of Michael Block in there.
Oh yeah, you could have, because he's a player. So you could have still featured him as a player. Like, hey, I'm a PGA professional.
Yep.
But he's on the... I get your frustration. He's on the range tee giving lessons in that commercial.
Yeah.
I get your frustration.
It all starts with a PGA professional like me. No,
but
it
here's
starts
the
with Joe
the deal.
Schlatt at your local club.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Listen, I still think he used to be that guy, so I don't see the problem with the commercial. I do want to come at the commercial a little bit differently though, and that is exactly what we were talking about before, about how they're saying it's for everybody. We want it to be that way, but it ain't really that way.
And on that note, that's the end of the Barely Out of Bounds podcast. Zane, is there anything you want to plug before we head out?
Just my YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting some more videos this week. I'm trying to grow that channel, so if you guys could be nice enough to, subscribe and like those videos, that really helps me in the YouTube algorithm get to other people. I put a lot of content on there. There's a lot of stuff I keep in there that I, usually hold back for private clinics and stuff like that. But I'm trying to get my name out there, trying to get more people involved in listening. And so if you guys could, that'd be fantastic. At ZS Golf on YouTube. I've invited Zach to post some stuff on there, but I'm pretty sure he's growing his own thing. What are you doing?
I'm currently running 2 podcasts.
One
with my brother and another one with 2 drunk idiots. So my hands are a little full right now, especially with my work schedule. But if you want to know everything before it happens, follow me, Zach Stradamus, at BeerlyZach on X. Again, almost a perfect prediction of the Ryder Cup. Where else can you get that except for right here on Beerly OB and over on X at BeerlyZach. My NFL takes also never miss. So
I hope you guys talk about that Kansas City game. That's what I want you guys to talk about.
Well, it'll come up. I'm 100% sure of it. But
there's some questionable antics.
In fact, I already have a segment planned for it. And
the NFL's a cartel. The NFL's a cartel.
I already have a segment planned for it, and I haven't even told the other boys, so we're gonna have fun.
All right, sounds good. I'll be watching.
Alrighty. Well, we will see you guys next week, covering more golf news as it comes out. Thank you guys for listening or watching. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, anywhere you can find your podcast. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
I cut you off every week when you do that for a reason.
Do you really cut